So we're going to take notes on unit rate and unit rate. So you have your foldable here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through parts of our brochure at a time. We don't necessarily go in a certain order, so you need to make sure that you're following along, and if you ever need to write something down and I'm going too fast, you can pause the video to get caught up, but it's really important that you're listening to what I'm saying and copying the notes that I copy. Okay? So if we start on the front of our brochure here, it says, a rate is a ratio that compares two quantities with different units of measure. So what that's saying is like different word labels, okay? So we might compare, if we're talking about hamburger that we buy at the store, we might say how much money and pounds, okay? So how much are you spending for how much are you buying the weight of the hamburger, and we usually buy it in pounds. If you're driving a car, you talk about how many miles you can go and how many hours. If you go on a trip, you might say we drove 500 miles in 8 hours. So we have miles and hours. We're comparing two different things. Now, when you have a unit rate, the second measurement is always out of 1. So let's say we're talking about hamburger. So how much money for 1 pound? If we're talking about miles and hours, how many miles per 1 hour? How many miles per hour did you travel? If you're talking about working, all right, and you make so much money babysitting and you babysat for 5 hours, you could say how much money did I get per 1 hour? So write down here when it says keywords that describe the word one. Okay, some of those keywords are, I'll try to write so you can see, and then I'll hold it up to the camera. Per, P-E-R, each, and And you might think, well, that's kind of weird, Okay, so there they are. So if we would say it's $1.25 for a candy bar, that's saying 1 candy bar, all right? If it's $1.25 for each candy bar, 1 candy bar. Okay, how many miles per hour? Again, that means 1. So whenever we hear those words, we're going to think 1. We have to really listen for those words. Okay? All right, now we're going to move on to the inside. And we're going to look up here. And we're going to circle the unit rates. Okay? So what I want you to do is you're going to try, there's 6 things here. You're going to circle the ones that are given as a unit rate. So for instance, I'm going to tell you that this one is not a unit rate. We're comparing feet and seconds. But it doesn't say 14 feet in 1 second. It says 14 feet in 7 seconds. So that's not a unit rate. So you need to look at the 9 that we have here. And I want you to pause this now, and I want you to circle what you think are the ones that should be circled that are that show unit rate for 1. So pause it now. All right. So I'm just finishing up my circling here. And let's see how you did. There should be 4 things circled. Okay, so if you look, it says per ounce, each bar, 1 serving, and 1 gallon. Those measurements are all given as the unit rate out of 1. All right. Now we're going to move over to this right here. And on this side, we're going to write the ratio that they give to us, and then we're going to calculate the unit rate. And I'm going to be very picky about how I want you to set these up and how I want your final answer to be given. So we'll work through a problem, and then I'll pause it. If you need to pause it, you can pause it. All right, so 80 miles in 2 hours. So what's the ratio that they give us? And I'm going to write all of these as fractions, okay? We talked earlier this week about... now we're moving on. We know 3 ways we can write ratios, but we're moving on to kind of always think about them as fractions. Okay, so 80 over 2. That's our ratio, 80 over 2. Now, I need to calculate the unit rate. So I know that unit rate is always out of 1. So I'm going to make an equivalent ratio right here. So how do I get from 2 to 1? Well, I divide by 2. And remember, whatever I do to the top, I must do to the bottom. So 80 divided by 2. Half of 80 is 40. So our unit rate, you're going to write 40 miles per hour. I'm going to abbreviate as MPH. You've probably seen that before when you're in a car. 40 MPH. All right, let's try number 2. $64 for 4 video games. So we're figuring out how much money for one video game. So we're going to put 64 over 4. Over here, we're going to leave a little space and we're going to write for one video game. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 64 divided by 4, I'm just going to tell you the answer is 16. Okay? So then when you go to put your answer down here, you're going to say $16 per game. Okay, so it's $64 for 4 video games. That means it's $16 for one video game. All right, moving on to the next one. 28 points in 4 games. So 28 over 4, leave a space. How many points did that person score in one game? So we're always dividing by that bottom number. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. So this person scored on average 7 points per game. Okay, remember at any time if you need to pause this to get caught up, do so. All right, we're on our last one. We spent $10 at the grocery store for 4 cans of soup. So 10 to 4. We want to know how much for 1 can of soup. So again, we're dividing by that bottom number because 4 divided by 4 is 1. 10 divided by 4, 2.5, $2.50. So that means our unit rate, $2.50 per can. Now I want you to look what I just did here. $2.50 per. That slash means per, and you'll start to see that. So $2.50 per can. All right, so remember, the second term of a unit rate is always 1. Okay, 1, 1, 1, and 1. So if you did not get this all copied down, you can pause it now and get yourself caught up. All right, the next section that we're going to look at is on the inside. 18 cookies were evenly distributed between 3 people. Use the model to find the unit rate. Okay, unit rate, always dividing. So 18 cookies between 3 people. How much per person? You're always going to divide. So if there's 18 cookies for 3 people, that means there are 6 cookies per person. Okay. 25 goldfish were given away at a carnival to 5 friends. If they split them up evenly, how many goldfish will each friend get? It says create a model to support your answer. We're just going to draw a little picture here. So here's friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, friend 4, and friend number 5. Okay? They're splitting up evenly the fish. Now, I'm not going to draw fish. I'm going to put an F, and I want you to put an F too because we're not going to waste time drawing our fish. Okay? So friend 1 gets a fish, and friend 2 gets a fish, and friend 3, and friend 4, and friend 5. I have 25 fish altogether. 5 people. We've only given away 5 fish. We got to keep going. Fish, 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 and fish. Now we're at 10. We got to keep going. Fish, 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 fish. 15. We need to give away 25. Fish, 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 fish. Now we're at 20. We're almost there. Fish, 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 fish. We've given away all 25 of our fish. How many did each person get? If you count them, each person got 5 goldfish per person. Okay, 5 goldfish per person. All right, pause if you need to get that caught up. We have one more section that we're going to do in our notes here. Actually, I take that back. We're going to be done. Okay, so once you have all of that copied, the other stuff, don't cross it off. We're just going to do it at another time. Okay, so once you've gotten all that stuff copied, this will go in the back pocket of your black notebook so it doesn't get lost because we'll have to finish the rest another time. And then I should have given you some directions from there. All right, see ya.